The story begins on a quiet evening in the bustling city of Westbridge. The sun had just dipped below the horizon, leaving behind streaks of orange and purple that danced across the sky. The streets were alive with the chatter of people, the hum of engines, and the distant melody of a street musician's guitar. It was here, amidst the chaos and beauty of the city, that our two strangers, Emily and James, would cross paths in a way neither could have anticipated. Emily, a 28-year-old art curator, had just exited a gallery, her heels clicking against the cobblestone sidewalk. Her phone buzzed incessantly in her bag, a reminder of the mounting pressures in her life. She felt like she was running from something, though she couldn't quite define what. James, on the other hand, was a 31-year-old writer who preferred the solitude of quiet corners. He had been wandering the streets in search of inspiration, his notebook tucked under his arm. His thoughts were scattered, weighed down by a secret he carried, a secret that had kept him at a distance from everyone he loved. As fate would have it, Emily and James found themselves in the same cafe on Elm Street. The air inside was warm, filled with the aroma of freshly brewed coffee and the faint chatter of patrons. Emily sat by the window, Emily sat by the window, her gaze distant as raindrops began to streak the glass. James entered, shaking off the cold, his eyes scanning the room for a quiet spot. But it was Emily's loneliness that caught his attention, a reflection of something he knew too well. Without thinking, he chose the seat across from her. It wasn't long before their worlds collided. Emily, distracted by her phone, accidentally knocked over her coffee. The dark liquid spread across the table, threatening to ruin her documents. James, quick to act, handed her a napkin, his voice calm and steady. "Here, let me help." For a moment, their eyes met. It wasn't just the kindness in his gesture that struck Emily. It was the familiarity, as if they had known each other in another lifetime. Over the next hour, they exchanged polite conversation, though each was guarded. Emily learned that James was a writer, and he discovered her passion for art. They shared laughs about the quirks of the city, but beneath the surface, both carried unspoken burdens. Emily hesitated when James asked if she had family nearby. She smiled faintly, deflecting the question. And when Emily complimented James on his vivid descriptions of life in the city, he grew quiet, his grip tightening on his notebook. It was clear they were both running, from memories, from pain, and perhaps from the very connection they were beginning to feel. Just as Emily was about to leave, a strange event occurred. A man rushed into the cafe, frantically searching for something. His voice carried across the room. "I've lost my bag. It has everything in it." The man's desperation was palpable, and James, unable to ignore the situation, offered to help. To Emily's surprise, she found herself volunteering as well. Together, they left the cafe, following clues and retracing the man's steps through the rain-soaked streets. The search led them to an alleyway near the park, where they found the missing bag tucked behind a bench. Relief washed over the stranger as he thanked them profusely, his gratitude lighting up the dreary night. But it was in that moment, as the stranger walked away, that Emily and James realized something deeper. Their shared act of kindness had created a bridge between them, one neither had expected. James turned to Emily, his voice breaking the silence. "It's strange, isn't it? How helping someone else can make you feel less lost." Emily nodded, her eyes searching his for meaning. "Maybe it's because it reminds us we're not alone." As they walked back to the cafe, the rain had subsided, leaving behind a fresh, earthy scent. They didn't need to say much, something unspoken had already been shared. Emily realized that the weight she had been carrying wasn't hers alone to bear, and James, for the first time in years, felt the stirrings of hope. That night, they parted ways, but not without exchanging phone numbers. It was a simple gesture, yet it carried the promise of something more, a chance to heal, to grow, and perhaps to rewrite the stories they had been living. In life, we often find ourselves lost, wandering in search of meaning. But sometimes it's the smallest acts of kindness, the briefest encounters that remind us of our own humanity. Emily and James didn't know it yet, but their meeting was the start of something extraordinary, a love story filled with hope, courage, and the lessons we all need to learn. If you have watched this far, kindly encourage me to do more by subscribing to my channel. Please subscribe.